Electricast.
There are people out there all across the country pushing boundaries to grow the game of golf. Like champion speed golfer Lauren Cupp, who plays faster than anyone else. And Will Lowry, whose work in the golf community inspires more kids to get into the game. As a champion partner of the Masters, Bank of America supports everyone determined to find out what's possible. In golf and in life. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America. Bank of America N.A. member FDIC, copyright 2025, Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
McDonald's meets the Minecraft universe with one of 6 collectibles and your choice of a Big Mac or 10-piece McNuggets with spicy Nether Flame sauce. Now available with a Minecraft movie meal.
At participating McDonald's for a limited time, a Minecraft movie only in theaters.
Welcome into Missing the Point. It's Mike Marcangelo, joined alongside by the real BK Bob Kelly, DK Sizzle Dave Clarke, and we got a lot to talk about today. We had NFL free agency and obviously the Boston Celtics. I want to start with free agency, obviously, because our 3 teams, I think, are a pretty good meter as some team that did a lot, a team that did a little, and then Bobby's team that did absolutely fucking nothing in free agency. So
who's the team that did a little? The Patriots?
Yeah. Yeah, so let's just start there.
I feel like you guys have done a lot. Okay.
Fine. So before free agency started, DK, just if I were to tell you what is the biggest need that the New England Patriots needed in free agency, what the fuck would you say?
Offensive line, wide receiver.
Okay, yeah, and what else?
Wide receiver.
Great. So to fill that void, they signed Mac Hollins, the Bills' number 3 wide receiver, and Morgan Moses to a 3-year, $24 million contract. He's a right tackle. We need a left tackle, which means that we're probably going to have to draft that Will Campbell kid, number 4, which really fucking blows.
Is he a tackle? How many
That's been the talk on the street is this guy's wingspan, dude.
Is he debate? I did not know we would be having.
Yeah, he's got T-Rex arms. He's like 32 and a quarter. It's not great.
I quite frankly, I feel strongly that that's in the camp of like the advanced analytics, the nerds are taking over type talking point. Like, I mean, can the guy fucking play tackle or can he not play tackle? I understand that the game has evolved. You know, the college game is very different now, and they're so spread out, and they have very different sort of like growth and running schemes, especially at the tackle position. But surely there's more advanced tape on what constitutes a guard in the NFL and what constitutes a tackle than the millimeters he's missing from his arms, right? Because when this is a new debate, right? I feel like this is the first I'm hearing of this year. Have I just not been paying attention? Am I crazy?
You just not been paying attention.
Yeah, really? We've been talking about arm length this whole fucking time.
Well,
there was guards and there was tackles, I thought.
I don't. And honestly, in the last like 4 years,
to change a guy's position based on his fucking arm length.
Well, in the last 4 years, when have either of our teams been looking to draft a tackle in the top 10? So like that's why it's not always been. If you're going to waste or use a top 5 pick in the Patriot case this year, they're going to go in. They're going to go through every stupid little metric and research data point that they have to, which is probably why you're hearing about it more now.
I mean, it might sound like I'm oversimplifying, but I'm pretty sure you can draft Will Campbell and play him at left tackle. I'm pretty sure you can.
Well,
only because he was the best left tackle in college. Like, maybe they should just draft a guy who is the best at the position in college if they need that position. I'll say this. If you think it constitutes a reach at 4, I could understand. I genuinely could understand it constituting a reach at 4 if there's real positional, I guess, concerns, would you call them? Or is it definite? Like, are you definitely drafting a guard? Is that what you're saying?
Well, a tackle. We need a left tackle.
But I'm saying if you draft Will Campbell, are you definitely drafting a guard? Like, are you getting a guard with Will Campbell?
No, I think they'll make him. I think I'm in your camp, dude. Like, if he's been a tackle for 8 years in high school and college, he could probably play tackle in the NFL, right? And it wasn't like he was in the SEC, so like he was facing good pass rush. But in the most recent mock drafts from like ESPN and PFF, he's not even in the top 10. They have. I mean, if he falls to 10, and the Bears don't draft him, I'd be like, what are we doing?
Like, I know, and we even addressed our offensive line issues. We addressed our offensive line issues for the most part. Like, we got 3 great interior guys. And, like, the fact that we did what we did at center is mind-boggling to me. I haven't had a good center since Olin Kreutz. But, I mean, if Will Campbell's there, I feel like I'm taking him, unless someone else outrageous is also there. Right? Like, it's not, you know, like, if maybe there's a Travis Hunter there or something, I'll be like, yeah, fuck that. They're like, just get him. I don't care. But I doubt that's going to be the case. But, because, like, I've been toying with GT for months and months, thinking we could maybe put ourselves in a position to, like, but Will Campbell, I mean, fuck it, dude. Who cares? Best player available by 10, right? Are you guys thinking you're going to do the same thing at 4?
I think if it's him or if it's the edge rusher that everyone's going after, everyone's talking about, then they're probably going to go defense again. Which again wouldn't make fucking
Carter
sense
is a
to me
beast.
because they still
he might not get past 1.
Abdul
He
Carter?
might be the first pick of the draft.
No.
Yeah, he's top 3, easy. Oh, unless it goes quarterback. I think that Bobby might be right, but he might drop to 4. I feel like if he's there, take again.
Right.
Like, if he's there, take. There's a lot of really good options for the team that doesn't need to pick a QB. Like, we're both in this kind of, like, nice situation. When we're in the on paper apparently weakest quarterback draft in forever. I think it's probably the one we always talk about with Fields, with, like, looking back on that year. But on paper, apparently, you shouldn't be drafting a QB in the top 10. Like, you're not getting
There's
a quality
Cam
QB in the top 10.
Sanders, right?
Potential, right? Potentially, but, like,
Right.
But I think then, you know, this has been talked to death, but there's that whole thing of, like, is Dion letting his kid go to Cleveland? Probably not. Like, he has to fall to the Raiders, right? Like, that's what's going to happen. So I don't think we're going to get a 1 and 2 quarterback draft like we always do, you know, or at least a 1 like we always do. So you have this really nice, you're in this really nice position at 4, I think, on, like, in your head, until you start to realize that, like, you're, like, it's not as much of an advantage that your need doesn't need to be addressed before you. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, you love it being in the top 5 if you don't need a QB. And it's so weird and rare, right? Because usually if you don't need a QB, it means you're not a fucking eligible for a top 5 pick, right? But, like, we're both in this weird situation where it's like, well, I think we got our guy, I think. So we're not going to draft the QB, but, like, Bobby's nowhere near us, you know, in the kind of picks we've been getting over, I mean, this year, but, like, in the kind of picks we've been getting over the last few years. So it's like, but he's in a position where there's so many things that you need to address, and it's starting to get worse. So on the one hand, I think you're in a nice spot where there's an embarrassment of riches by the time you hit 4, right? And there's probably, what would you say, like 3 to 5 guys that you're just not mad if they draft, right?
Yeah.
Like, but probably 5. There's probably 5 guys that, like, if they drop to you or they're still there and that you're expecting it, you're not pissed off. And I feel the same way about 10. So, you know, I just think there's a ton of value positionally for teams that are looking for positions. But then again, if there's no QB demand or QB supply and demand before you, it sort of reduces the value of that 4th a little bit, don't you think?
Yeah, no, 100%. But look, I guess why I'm irritated, because this is my default setting, is that we still have this big need at left tackle, and then you see what the Commanders gave up, or
where's the
drought
left tackle?
right
What
now. There's
left
no
tackle
left
did you want to
tackles out
get?
there.
It's
crazy.
fucking drought.
Larry
It's barren
Tunsil.
out there.
Laramie,
Because they don't leave their
from
team.
Houston left and went to Washington for a 3rd round pick, 7th round pick, and 2nd round pick next year.
Yeah, no, it's definitely worth it.
That's a lot.
He's the 2nd best tackle in the league.
Yeah, it's weird that they traded him.
Yeah, 100%.
To be honest,
like, we have.
I mean, it's weird that they traded him. It's suspicious. It's
that's
suspicious
one of
that they traded him.
One of my big gripes so far is that we do have all these draft picks, and clearly, if it's a weak draft in terms of left tackles or in free agency, and you can just offer that trade, do it. But I want to just get back to what you guys think about the Patriots free agency, and then we'll go to the Cowboys and to the Bears. So the Patriots, they really just dominated free agency in terms of just defense, right? Milton Williams, I love that. I really love that. I thought when he went to Carolina, I was pissed. I was like, you got to go get him. And it turns out they did. Carlton Davis, Harold Landry. Those are 3 top 15, top 20 starters in the league that are now on your defense. But then Mac Hollins and Josh Dobbs, I don't understand that. But ultimately, I would say that, listen, if my biggest gripe with the Patriots last year was their lack of talent on the field, they just got exponentially better and more talented on the defensive side.
I mean,
but am I right to be a little upset?
I would say
Bobby?
yes and no. I would say yes just because, like you said, they did miss the glaring weaknesses of wide receiver and offensive line, especially wide receiver. I know that they tried to go after Godwin, but it seems like he accepted a lot less to say in Tampa. So I guess it wasn't. Yeah, I guess it wasn't worth. Wasn't for a lack of trying. $20 million.
They think they got some down there. They think they got some
agreed.
down there. I think we should keep note of that as we go into our prediction show. So the performances that they had last year, where like Baker and his sort of like establishing himself as their franchise guy. If you're doing that, like you must really believe you might be able to win some shit coming into next year.
And
so I think
no,
we should
I would
definitely
say
keep an eye
no
on that.
because
Sorry,
Milton Williams is a great pickup. I think he was one of the more undervalued pickups of free agency, to be honest. I know he was kind of overshadowed by Jalen Carter a lot this year, but he had such a good Super Bowl and such a good playoff run. And I know it was like a little bit of an overpay, but I mean, NFL is a copycat league, and if there's no other way to right, and there's no way to copycat than to take
for a
than
Super
to take
Bowl ring.
straight from the NFL.
You know,
Patriots
you
are
want to
smart.
get a guy.
I love the Milton Williams sign.
Right. I mean, the Patriots are in that, like to your point, Bobby, and what you're going to say, DK. Like the Patriots are in that suck tax phase. Like they're going to have to pay that extra 10 to 15% more than you need to pay for a guy just to get them to come here because they've just seen the NFL just sees A, the report cards that the players gave the Patriots, and B, what we've been the last 6 years without Brady and with the demise of Bill. So
Yeah, but
you have to overpay.
you're in a. I think it's okay to overpay right now because I think what you're in is a culture building phase. I mean, it's a strange thing to say about the New England Patriots, who basically like invented the best football culture we've ever seen in our lifetime. But you obviously had to the clean house conversations we've had a million times on this podcast, and banishing ghosts, et cetera, and how basically it seems like the narrative because Vrabel's not from the coaching tree of Bill Belichick, but he's still in sort of like the umbrella. I don't know what you would call it, the forest, maybe not the tree, but the woods. Then you still sort of have all that seems to do is build into everybody's attitude. Like, okay, he's the guy who's experienced a great culture, so let's see if he can build one. So what you want to do is you want to go get winners, locker room guys. Talented guys, obviously, and I think signings like this really reflect that because you're going to bring in a guy who's been there, right? And unfortunately, the Patriots are a full generation removed now from anybody in the building being there, having been there, I should say. So when the coach and you bring guys in like the coach, the new signings that he's bringing in, the new staff. Even getting guys like the linebacker from Tennessee because he's a Vrabel guy, you're sort of living with it because you wouldn't want to spend that much money on a linebacker like of that quality usually, I would say. But I think he can be a really solid performer for you. I don't know if it's like lighting the world on fire, getting him, but he's a Vrabel guy. He's there to establish culture. So for me, it's like that's the tax you're paying, right? I don't know if it's a suck tax. I think it's like we need to sort of change our hearts or die kind of a phase where Vrabel's making sort of statement signing in the past few weeks. So to me, I think you're doing the right thing, and we got on each other's curves so much less than I thought that we would in this offseason so far. Like I really thought because we were in more similar situations, but strangely, obviously Johnson's going to have to come into Chicago and do some stuff with culture, but it's like not what we're doing, which might scare me a little bit, but like the X's and O's that we're addressing is great. So, but we're paying premiums on our X's and O's signings. So it's kind of what you have to give that extra tax to your new head coach, I think is essentially my point. So it's like, it's a suck tax, but it's also like, let's see what he's made of. We'll actually spend the money, and he does have a cheap owner. So this is good. This is good news. Like if you were making tiers of like cheapness of owners, like Kraft would be pretty low on the list because Belichick used to laugh at the first 2 days of free agency. He would be in the fucking sweeping the Copacabana in the first 2 days of free agency. There was I don't remember for the life of me the most recent, like Bill Belichick just went out and spent $48 million on day one.
2021, he spent $230 million. Hunter Henry,
that was
Jonnu Smith.
But that was the whole issue. Was the first time he ever tried to do that, and it was because the ship was finally sinking, right? But for how long was it like, oh wow, the Patriots like traded a 7th rounder for a guy they're going to pay $6 million the next year? You know, like that was the entire time we were in high school and college. That was the MO of the Bill Belichick Patriots, right? So, and it didn't work out. Is the thing, like it worked out with the way Bill used to do it, and the guys and then when he like went against that system. In the waning days of his GMery, when you guys were lighting the fucking building on fire at that point, about him as the GM mostly, you were. And it was always that. It was always the GM thing. But essentially, he kind of proved himself right because when he did that, it didn't fucking work. And when other teams do that, it seems to like not work that much a lot of the time. I mean, how many times have we seen the Cleveland Browns like splash at the start of a free agency? And you're like, oh, they're building something down there in Cleveland. And it's like, it's always going to be a shit made of shit, guys, because you're the Cleveland Browns. So I would be happy, honestly, that it's more culture spending and establishment spending than it is like even maybe what we're doing by just like splashing the cash in positions in order to set ourselves up for best player available in the draft.
Robert
Spillane, or what Bobby's
is
doing, which is
very underrated pickup for you guys. The Raiders fans love that dude. Apparently, he plays with a lot of grit.
Yeah.
Are you going to sign? The sign is to go look at the subreddit of the fan base that gets rid of the guy. You know, go and look at the forums of the guy who gets rid of him. So if Raiders fans like him, that is good news, Bob. Like you're essentially like how you have to go to how mad are you to lose the guy meter. You got to go to the other teams like discussions and be like, if they're heartbroken, then we're in good shape. Because I remember all the Raiders fans coming to the Bears subreddit when Shane Waldron went over there and they were like, so what do you guys think? And we were like, oh my God, have so much fun over there with that offensive coordinator. So that's a good sign.
So why haven't they gone after, and this is the only name that I'm really interested in. Like, why is Amari Cooper not a New England Patriot right?
Yeah, Cooper Kupp would be I think Cooper Kupp is the guy more likely to be in New England, to be honest.
Doesn't that look likely?
Well,
why is that?
I'm fine with that too.
To do with his height and skin color and the Patriots.
No, it has nothing to
for those particular guys. Everyone's like, it just makes it's like go be Wes Welker, dude. Like, what? You're white. Go play wide receiver in New England. What are you doing? Fucking hell! We should have already.
Would you rather have Cooper Kupp or Amari Cooper? The only reason why I asked that question, I get that Cooper Kupp's plus side is way higher. However, Amari Cooper is more consistent. His the best ability is availability, and Cooper Kupp has only played one full season.
Cooper Kupp makes your quarterback better by playing even a full season, or even most of it 1 season and 2 seasons with Cooper Kupp. If you sign him to a 2-year contract, I think you end up with a much improved Drake May, because he's had one of the more serious route runners and playmakers in the past 10 years in the NFL come to his team, and it shows him what he can really do. Amari Cooper, I just don't know if he fits what they're going to try to do this year down there. If you think about what Vrabel's offensive schemes look like and what Drake May's been capable of, I don't think Vrabel's had a quarterback like this. So I think he might have some fun and maybe get a chip on his shoulder about how people say he is with his offense and what people kind of viewed him on his way out of Tennessee, where on the offensive side of the ball, even though he got fired. I think Cooper Kupp, I think he just is a great outlet for a second-year QB who's trying not to throw a bunch of picks. And I think that you have to have it's not to say that it's harder to throw to Amari Cooper, because he's also a really, really good wide receiver, but I think you need to find deeper, more complicated routes with an Amari Cooper than you do with a Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp makes it a lot easier on you in between the numbers. So just stylistically between the two guys, because we make the joke about Wes Welker, but Cooper Kupp and Wes Welker are nothing like each other as wide receivers. You know what I mean? They're not at all the same guy. So the flash that Cooper Kupp could bring could also, off of easy throws, if we're being honest, could also really help Drake May's confidence because they're going to boost his numbers. You know what I mean? Like, you got to get the ball to Amari Cooper. He's going to be in a great position down the field, but they're tighter seams. Cooper Kupp just needs to kind of turn around and be like, just give me the ball. He's one of those guys. It's why you guys were trying to get Debo so hard. It's why you guys wanted Debo, because everyone wants their rookie QB to have a playmaker instead of a route runner or a deep threat, right? Like it was perfect timing when Randy Moss showed up for Tom Brady, right? Because he had gotten all those kinks out and he was like, I'm gonna absolutely find this guy down the fucking seams every single time. So, but if he gets Randy Moss in his second year at the same thing, of course not. Of course not. So even though that's 2002 Randy Moss. So it's like at the end of the day, I think I would vote Cooper Kupp. I don't know.
No,
If
I'd
Bobby
vote Cooper
disagrees,
Kupp as
but that's
well.
my sort of take on
It's
it.
just because if he's 100% healthy, he's definitely a better wide receiver than Amari Cooper is. I've had Amari on my team, and I love Amari to death. The health thing is definitely a thing, but if you're getting 100% healthy Cooper Kupp with Drake May, you're taking that up a whole nother step, and you're giving him a weapon, like DK said, that can get open at any time. And if you're struggling with offensive line, you have a wide receiver who is great at that 1-2 get open. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
I mean, honestly, Cooper Kupp is closer to Malik Neighbors than he is to, a Larry Fitzgerald. Like he really could make a quarterback that's struggling and that's having a bad game that doesn't really know how to like read his way out of it yet because he's in his second year. So that's fine. That you make some. I do still hope you make some serious offensive line adjustments to in the coming weeks draft. I mean, you still do need to do that, but if you do get Cooper Kupp, you could start to apply the practice of, well, we're getting the ball out of Drake's hands in 3 seconds or less, right? So I don't know if Amari Cooper is like making up that extra ground. And I'm not saying Drake May is going to have a bad year or he's going to digress, like have any digression or whatever, but it's putting the guy in the best possible situation so you don't break his brain.
Yep. No, I agree. Listen, if they get Cooper Kupp or Amari Cooper, and and then they draft Will Campbell, I would say that this offseason so far would be
tough grader.
a B+.
It's a tough grader.
Like, that's great. Then they addressed every need. They got a left tackle. Well, it hinges on them getting a number one wide receiver, Bobby, because they just signed Mac fucking Hollins. I mean, what?
We already
have
like the guy that doesn't wear shoes
wide
into the locker
receivers
room
on our team. We don't need a fifth. I mean, if he turns out to be Randy fucking Moss, I'll love him and I'll eat my words. But he just wasn't with Josh Allen, and I have
save on cleat costs though.
Yeah, there's that. Okay, we'll move on. We'll go. So DK's team, his number one team. We'll talk about your number two team here in a second. But your number one team, the Chicago Bears.
I don't have word.
Oh, you do.
No,
you do. So the Chicago Bears, they got Jonathan Jackson from the Rams. They signed. They got Joe Tootie from the Chiefs. They retained their Josh Blackwell, Chris Williams, and then they made some splashes. So how would you grade the Bears' free agency so far? You got to be happy.
I'm not getting too excited. I promised I wouldn't get overly excited. I'm not doing it was like I said, and I made an affirmation, like I'm not going to get too pumped just because we signed Ben Johnson, who put on like the most electric offense of the last 3 seasons. I'm not gonna, 2 seasons, let's say, being most electric. I'm not going to get too excited. And then when I said that, they were like, oh, but what if we address every single one of your glaring needs? So we put ourselves in a position to go BPA in the top 10. What if we have 4 picks in the top 40? What if we really make all the correct and intelligent decisions and it really looks like Ben Johnson is actually doing something and all his press conferences make you really excited? Are you going to get excited then? No, because they've hurt me too many goddamn times. It's like a toxic relationship. It really feels like the last death blow that they're gonna throw. And I mean, quite frankly, there's still too many question marks. There's just still too many question marks. I still watch DJ Moore walk off the field in the middle of a play last season. You know what I mean? Like, we have such a large hill to climb, and winning the offseason every year is not really doing it for me anymore. It's really not tickling my ball sack anymore. So I'm honestly, I know this is going to sound negative and shitty, and I know that like Bears fans are excited, and I'm happy for them, but like I've been hurt too many times, man. I'll believe it when I see it. When I see some meaningful football, I'm going to spend this whole summer being a fucking Debbie Downer about it. Did they do the right things? Absolutely. I'm not going to do that again, though. I'm not going to do what I did the last few off seasons where it will be between Field and Williams. I just can't. It's too upsetting. So I know that might not be the most exciting answer, but I'm trying to protect my mental health over here. The overall, that being said, as a disclaimer, I would give them an A in what they've done so far. I really like the positions that they've addressed. I like how they address them. I like the fact that we have a completely new look O-line. I like the fact that Dennis Allen is my defensive coordinator. I was thinking about that today, and I was thinking about his style of defense and the kind of players that we have. And it's I think, going to be sort of like the opposite of the problem Bobby had, where it's like he had a bunch of fast and athletic guys that were then last year and asked to not play sort of zone hawk defense. They were asked to play like a kind of a bubble, bend, don't break sort of approach. And it was just like, I don't think you can really do that. These guys aren't like, you're not managing games out there, with the guys that are on the Dallas Cowboys. It's just not how it works. So I think the Bears are the same way. And I think Dennis Allen's going to be like, let's be a hard hitting, turnover based, affect the game and dynamic defense. And I think that that's what my personnel on the defensive side of the ball is capable of. So again, I mean, we needed an edge rusher. We signed an edge rusher. I think the additions that we've made are going to make the team better. I think we're going to be better just by not having Matt Eberflus as a head coach and that culture shifting over. And I really love going into the draft with a best position available mindset, best player available mindset, and not having to address the glaring need at 10. So if Ashton Jinty's there, if any of the guys we talked about at the top of the show are there, basically for me to get, I'm not going to be mad. So that 10th overall pick is butter now, right? It's not a desperate need situation. It's just like who's the best guy? Just bring him in. Doesn't matter who's left, right? So you just you're just power ranking your players at that point. So I'm happy about that. And I think they're making all the right decisions, but it remains to fucking be seen.
Because he's one of the top 5 centers in the league, and I don't think it can be under.
Was it underrated? I feel like it was a great.
Well,
it was like sort of lauded. I really think it was a great signing.
How important the center is for a young quarterback. You know what I mean? You look at what Jason Kelce did for Hurts all those years, or what he did for the Eagles, what Frederick did for the Cowboys all those years when he was the center. Having Saturday in Indianapolis, being able to have a center that can call out those blitzes like he can, dude, that's so important, and that's such a big pickup for Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way that what did I get too excited again?
No, I mean, DK, can I just ask you a question? Like, I promise, you have my word here. We're recording. I will not.
He's
definitely
definitely
use
lying.
this against you in the future. Can you give me what your Can you?
I know he's lying.
I promise. Could you just give me what your reaction would be had you not been snake bitten by them out of the last 4 years?
It's hard. It's hard to put myself in that position because, like, you're asking me, like, what if he didn't hit me all those times? Would I still love him? It's like it's like, how am I supposed to put that hypothetical into my head? I can't. So I guess my best guess would be cautiously optimistic still. Really genuinely cautiously optimistic, because it really does still hinge on if Caleb Williams has got the goods or not. And a lot of things, Jaden Daniels, their proximity to each other in the draft, are going to have to break like they've never broken before in history for Caleb Williams to be the guy that I kind of think he's going to be, but kind of want him to be, like really need him to be. Because when has that ever happened that the top 2 guys are legit good coming out of the draft? So I have 2 routes to this. Either that happens or Jaden Daniels takes a massive dip, right? Like that's what I'm sitting here hoping for. So when you apply that context, and I know I'm not my usual optimistic self here, but when you apply that context, it's like, it's really hard to like kind of gamble anything, because Caleb could just come out and fucking lay an egg next year. And I'm sorry, but that's possible. And I know that Bears fans don't want to hear that, because I think he had a good rookie season. And I'm not going to argue with people who don't think that, because it's demonstrably true. Like everything about his numbers, before you apply all the fucking dumpster fire aspects of everything that was going on in Chicago, everything about his advanced analytics, his numbers, all signs point to good rookie season, not generational rookie season, but good rookie season. How few interceptions he threw comparatively to his touchdowns. In the positive column, distinctly held the ball too long. Like, held the ball too long in many situations in the negative column. So are we building an offensive line to give him 6-second pop? Because how sustainable is that? Genuinely. Unless you're the Philadelphia Eagles, I guess. But it's sustainable. Fuck it. Yeah, let's just do that. But you know, he needs to make a huge leap. Like, I'm depending on a quarterback to make a huge leap. And thematically, we have always discussed that there's 3 good quarterbacks. So I'm hoping my guy becomes one. So are you, Mike. You're in the same spot.
I know.
He had a good year last year. He demonstrably did. Like
he went 1
could go the way to the fucking dodo. Yeah, exactly. There's other things. You have to think about the other side of it, right? Unless you're a Commanders fan, you really shouldn't be blindly optimistic right now. And even then, I would advise caution.
And they just got, obviously, we talked about Laramie Tunsil, and then they traded for Deebo Samuel to add to Terry McLaurin. So that should be a little bit better.
You would invest if you were the owner of the Commanders right now, wouldn't you? After
hell yeah,
they just put in the last year. But what's to say they're not the Texans the next year? You know what I mean? Like, what's to say they're not? It's just like there's no way to tell. We've just been doing this for too long.
I mean, I think they'll take. I mean, but if you're Washington, you take back-to-back playoff years, and then this year, if you take a step back, but you lose in the first round, but you're then second-year quarterback that you to the playoffs twice. I'll take that. They haven't been,
for reasonable people like us. For reasonable people like us, that's a good thing. Like that, the Texans are also in a pretty good spot. Not really sure why they trade their left tackle if they truly believe in their QB, but I don't know. Maybe they'll figure something out. Or maybe it's a restructuring thing. There's been that theory floated. It's like they kind of need to get him a new look core of weapons in Texas, because like those guys have not been able to stay healthy for him, and it's sort of becoming like true, because like you can't just chase the like on paper of them when they're all on the field at the same time. We've seen how that works out in the past with other teams. So maybe it's something to do with that, but I don't know. I mean, like I would still rate the Texans pretty highly, but we did just spend a season being disappointed in them. So next year, if you get 2 injuries, you know what I mean? Like if wide receiver 1 goes down on any team for a second-year quarterback, it's like fucking shine gone off that franchise all of a sudden. Like now it's what have you done for me lately? So we're talking about the Commanders in the exact same way where we were talking about the Texans last year.
Yep.
So, anything can go in any direction at this point. So it's like, I guess I'm kind of bringing the whole house of cards down here because that's what we're here to do, is speculate. But it's hard because this league burns you, dude. It burns you.
Oh, my God. Bobby, speaking of being burned and staying in the NFC East, you're down. All right, you're Dallas Cowboys, man. Talk to me. I mean,
yes.
Is it as bad as it looks, or did they actually get a little bit better?
The only thing I can say is we
restructuring
actually signed a running back. I mean, that's one positive. We signed Javonte Williams, which, is an underrated signing. I kind of like Javonte Williams. He showed a little bit of gas with the Broncos before he got hurt. No, it's the same shit every single year, and it's been the same shit for the past 4 years. We've literally had the same show every year for the past 4 years, an off-season breakdown of free agency, and every single year I get on here, and I'm pissed about the fact that we would do absolutely fucking nothing. And it's Jerry Jones. That's what it boils down to. Jerry Jones, until he gets his stake off this team, there's nothing that we can do about it, because we're going to be selectively aggressive, which means sign no one and not address any of our needs for the entire first 5 to 10 days of free agency until everyone's off the board.
Well, so what would you say? What were the biggest needs
line,
the Cowboys going into free agency? In your
defensive line. I would love a second wide receiver, and obviously a running back.
So, all right. So they signed Solomon Thomas, defensive tackle, 2 years, $8 million.
He's all right. Yeah, he's all right.
So he's a big boy. That should be okay. They signed Rob Jones, offensive lineman, 1 year, $4.75 million. Not a big splash, but they did get better on defense. They're not
Yeah.
like, don't you like Tyre Elam?
So they're
and
former
Kenneth Murray?
first-round picks,
Like,
and they didn't
aren't
give
those
up
trades
much to
for
get
you?
them. But this is what they do. They invest a little bit of money or a little bit in guys that they liked 5-6 years ago, and they try and fill in spots like that instead of actually making big splashes. And it's just like every single year they do the same exact thing. Just like them once to just, actually go out and be aggressive and fill some of these needs. I mean, you look at DeMarcus Lawrence left us. So great, we lost. We gained Alice, but we lose DeMarcus Lawrence. You know what I mean? So it's just the same thing every single year. I mean, even from the signing of Schottenheimer, you know what I mean? It's just filling holes with guys that just do not inflate my positivity of this team moving forward. I'm sorry. It's not an exciting answer. It's not a fun answer, but it's just.
Don't apologize to us. I wouldn't be very fucking high. The thing is like it's all I can think about when I think about you and your Dallas Cowboys, and I feel like a team. Doing this show by its very merit makes us follow all of each other's teams like more closely, right? Like we're all just keeping an eye on the topics that come up the most, I think, and it makes watching the game more fun because it gives me so much perspective and context on, the Cowboys, the Patriots, and your rivalries therein. So it gives us all a deeper understanding, I think, of like what the NFL is and all its eccentricities and intricacies. But I think on a fundamental level, the place that I would never, ever, ever want to be is quarterback on a franchise contract that isn't the dude. And has established himself as not the dude, and he's making 150 plus million. What is his contract total?
Well,
his guaranteed money's fucking stupid.
His cap hit was
Restructured it to make it,
$79 this year, but he
50
restructured
They
it by
restructured, I know,
54.
and that's like
something like that.
And him and Cooper, right? But
Yeah, I mean, so
Yeah,
now, the
but
Cowboys now have $30 million left on the cap, which is pretty good.
but that's pretty good, and I think that they should make a signing
Thank you.
of the name Stephon Diggs or Amari Cooper or a Cooper Kupp, like we talked about, would obviously be sick. Or honestly, like sleeper, Tyler Lockett, always highly rated in my camp, to be honest. I really think he's a great wide receiver, and I think he'd be a real he's a great second. He's a really great second. He's got a real vibe, like he's of the T. Higgins mold, where it's like, man, what an unbelievable number 2 that would be, right? So you get, even though they play nothing like each other, but if you get Tyler Lockett, that one signing, I think, completely changes your outlook. Because then you're like, okay, well, you can start asking the question, has Dak ever really had a 1-2 punch like this? We have given him a running back to try to establish the run so he doesn't just have to get into hero mode. Even though his best games, right, Bobby, have been him going full fucking solo dolo commando, just going full hero mode and he just balling out or getting into a shootout with another QB. That's really where he shined, which kind of makes me like him when that shit happens, to be totally honest with you, even though I don't. But I think that it's just that thing of can you Jalen Hurts him? Can you put him in a position to succeed despite his flaws, right? Despite his obvious flaws that teams have been able to sort of exploit, especially now knowing who he is, because you don't have a choice. Yeah, he's on that contract. And I don't know if you've seen out there what the quarterback market looks like, or the free agency part of it, at least, plus the upcoming draft. It's you might even want to, it's a tough spot to be, that purgatory contract with a very highly paid quarterback that's, looking like he's never going to get you to the promised land as the team gets worse around him, that he can't fill in the gaps. But if you are able to fill in the gaps with personnel, I think you'd be holding on to Dak Prescott with dear life, looking at some of the market out there. People talk themselves into fucking Sam Darnold again. We just saw that. We just saw what that is. So, you don't want to be in that position. And it's not as nice of a position as me and Mike are in, I think, because we're all optimism, regardless of what, our 6 years from now selves are saying about this conversation, a la Mac Jones making the Pro Bowl year 1. But it's not such a terrible thing. Yeah, right. I know, with an asterisk. It's not such a terrible thing to think, at least we got our guy, in a sense, with heavy sort of air quotes around it. So if we put him in a position to succeed with, like you said, addressing, admittedly, a lot of holes,
Well, so
it
we've
could be
seen
worse.
Dak
I
with a
guess. I'm
1-2
just
punch
trying to
before
put a
when he
spin
had
on it.
Amari
I don't-
and CD back in the day, and that was the best that we've seen Dak play. I think they went 13-3 that year, won the division. Dak was, I think, top 3 MVP.
But even CD and Brandon Cooks 2 years ago, like they went 12-5.
Yeah, so
Like, that
I
was-
mean,
and Brandon
if
Cooks
we
is
can get
good.
another wide receiver over here, I'd be very happy with that. I mean,
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb literally he can't do it all. He can't do it all.
I think that Tyler Lockett is a different dynamic, but
No.
yeah, I mean, you just double team him every time. You need it too, you know. And I think that him and Amari is a pretty apt comparison, but I also think you'll admit there was a little bit of a 1-1A issue with those two guys, right? Where it's like as much as you will never turn down having those two guys at the exact same time. There was issues that you ran into where it was like you can tell one guy's pissed that you're not looking his way. Then because they're sort of 1-1A, it's an embarrassment of riches to the point where like Dak, I feel like at moments and key moments in playoff moments was second guessing himself on like who to go to, where to go. It's almost like you have too many options, you know, when you get the ball and you have too much time. So you don't just fucking put it away. You fuck up because you have too much time to think. I really think him having a 1-2 punch like this, where he goes and gets, I mean, strangely enough, even an Amari Cooper of now that would come back and accept that role, right? I think that would be a thing. A Stephon Diggs, same thing, but a true number 2, a lifetime sort of number 2 in Tyler Lockett is a position I really don't think Dak has ever been in. And I think that would like help him because Dak could be, I mean, a lot of quarterbacks would. So just bear with me when I make this point. Dak could be great in Buffalo. He'd be great in Buffalo because I really think Dak could be a great, like, I have 3 to 4 really good guys instead of I have one really great guy. Because he might be too kind of a nice of a guy where he's like really always trying to get CD his touches. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of not, it's like he doesn't really do the Dak Prescott show in that. But he does kind of let CD Lamb like dictate that shit. And like, at the end of the day, if you just gave him like it happened to Josh Allen, right? Like when Stephon Diggs left and everybody's just sort of like the floor rose and you brought the ceiling down a little bit. I don't think that Dak is Josh Allen. I'm sorry, Bobby, but it did happen to him where it was like, it's more about you and the scheme now, right? It's way more about you and the scheme and the decisions you make. And I think that would benefit Dak tremendously. Does that mean trade CeeDee Lamb? Absolutely not. But getting him options in those second, third, and fourth reads, and you're going to have to block for him. That's really the issue. Yeah, I don't think Tyler Lockett's going to solve all your problems. I'm not saying that, but I really do think it would cheer you up.
100%. Bobby, do you know that the last time that the Cowboys signed a free agent and paid him more than $6 million a year? Do you know who it was?
No, who was it? Oh my God, the throw the girl on the bed of guns guy. Nice. Stand up. Yep.
Stand up guy.
Yeah.
You know what was great about Greg Hardy is he had the decency to go to the UFC and let us all watch him get knocked out like 17 times. So that was really decent of him because he was a real piece of shit, that guy.
Where'd you get that stat? That's a nugget right there.
All right.
That was a good stat.
I saw it on Instagram today. I was like, I have verified it's true. I'm like, so they do pay their own players more than $6 million a year when they're up. But the last free agent signing that paid more than $6 million was Greg Hardy, and I was like, I forgot he was even on the fucking team.
He was a beast.
He was a beast for those 9 games he played for the Cowboys, though. All right, DK, your second team for now until the signing is made official, the Pittsburgh Steelers. So their offseason so far, they trade for DK Metcalf, then they sign him to a 5-year, $150 million contract, which is fucking wild. And they made some other signings, but they did let Najee Harris go. But they don't have a quarterback.
Thank God.
So what will your mental health be like if Aaron Rodgers is the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Because all signs are pointing that way. His one of his assistants just accidentally leaked that he requested some merchandise with his name in the Pittsburgh Pirates color scheme. So it's looking like he's going to sign with Pittsburgh.
I'm going to use my Steelers lighter for this section of the conversation. I don't know. The thing is like I think I have a stable and strong enough marriage to survive something like this, But I bet a lot of people have thought that in the past. I have warned Leah that if Aaron Rodgers goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, the vitriol with that which I will spit towards her team because of him directly will be quite gross. And I can only hope that he goes to Pittsburgh and succeeds, and that him and DK Metcalf and the highest paid defense in the NFL can put together a really great season. Not one I will be banging the drum for here on Missing the Point, the sports podcast, by any stretch of the imagination. However, for the sake of my marriage, if I get to hate him whilst he's doing good, that would bring the most balance to the force, because I have been sort of like loving and supportive about the success of her team because of the context we're able to apply. But unfortunately, that is still a different pirate ship, and alliances are tentative at best in this league. I'm on one ship, she's on another ship, and unfortunately, this is a little bit of a heel turn from the Pittsburgh Steelers in my direction. To be quite frank, I think the betrayal would be on their part if they were to sign an Aaron Rodgers after letting Justin Fields walk away. We had a nice thing going on this time last year. Do you know what I mean? Like the relationship outside of me and my wife, the relationship was building nicely. They were a hell of a lot more entertaining to watch on the defensive side of the ball than my team. They would win games, which was a lot nicer than in the living room than when the Bears were on. I have to say that.
Or the Patriots.
Or the Patriots. And if they definitely, petered out towards the end of the season, because what happens in the offseason, in the postseason, we figure out who's got a quarterback is really what we figure out. Like, it's great. I want them to do good when Russell Wilson is their QB, and we're all kind of like, maybe he's still got it. And there's a way that you can believe that. But when Aaron Rodgers is their QB, if he genuinely comes in with a chip on his shoulder from New York after I just got to laugh at him for an entire season, and he just starts fucking connecting with DK Metcalf, and they make it really easy on him because their defense is so good, so he doesn't have to be that good. And then you start thinking about his actual touchdown to interception ratio last year, despite how kind of comically bad the games were going and how like washed he clearly was. That touchdown interception ratio plug and played into the Pittsburgh offense is pretty fucking good, to be honest with you. It's like kind of all they need. So, and they need him to not make major mistakes in a postseason situation like Russ did. And the thing is, even Russ at his best was capable of that. Like even at his absolute prime, he was capable of the egg that he laid in the playoffs for the Steelers this year. So you could see him fit with Arthur Smith. You could see them getting him a real running back, doing that Pittsburgh Steelers thing where they either draft like a third wide receiver, because the top two wide receivers are legit. Pickens just became the best wide receiver too in that division, if you ask me. So I think
over T. Higgins, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he still on that team?
Yes.
Yeah. Did they franchise tag him again?
Yeah.
Again?
Yeah.
It must be nice to get a franchise tag as a wide receiver, because the median pay is like $1 billion. Like, why don't they just sign him to a contract? It would cost them less money at this point. Like, you just keep doing it. All right, fine. You do you. But anyway, on the Steelers, I mean, I'll hate it, and it'll be a real kick in the balls that, like, if it works out for them, it's that Thanos meme. Like, did they get good?
Everything.
Yeah. What did it cost you? Everything.
Everything.
So, I might be burning my house down by the end of that season if they win 13 games and Aaron Rodgers looks like Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs again, and he has the best defense in the NFL, or however it's going to go. But I mean, damn, they could get a running back in the draft now that solves a lot of their problems and doesn't run into the ass of his own blockers like Najee Harris did for the past few seasons. Then, bang the drum slowly. I'm dead. I don't get to participate in the joy of it anymore. But that's, I guess, what happens when you sign on with a different team. You don't get to play that card of like, whatever, he's on my team now, right? Like, that's the card you play if you've hated Aaron Rodgers this whole time. It's like, well, he's my quarterback now. He's not my quarterback. The Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback isn't my quarterback. As much as I wanted them for the past, the extent of my relationship to do well, it's not at the cost of my hatred of Green Bay or the Chicago Bears. You know, my love for the Chicago Bears, my hatred of Aaron Rodgers specifically as a person, the shit that comes out of his mouth in politics and views on science and vaccination, the dangerous idiocy that he has spouted into a microphone over the last few years, the fact that they give him even the oxygen in the room to speak words still boggles my fucking mind. But yet, he'll be the quarterback of my wife's team. And I don't think she'll be too thrilled about that either until when it's your team and he's winning you double-digit games. That would suck. If he went there and sucked, great. Cool. You guys should have signed Fields. Sorry, I don't know what to tell you.
Are you sure that would be great? Like,
yes.
For you?
I love watching Aaron Rodgers do bad. That is one of my favorite things I've ever done in my life. It's one of my most enjoyable. I am unabashedly a hater of him. You like it's you could play the card of like, oh, like why are you so obsessed with him? Why do you care about him so much? He looked me dead in the eyes in the fucking barrel of the camera and was like, I still own you. And that's a guy that doesn't even understand how the fucking measles vaccine works. I can't have that. I can't have that. So someone so clearly and obviously depths beneath my intellectual range look into a camera and tell me he owns me. I can't abide it. Me and him, if we were in the same room, would have had to fight at that point. We would have just had to. And I know he was talking to the Bears fandom, but it felt fucking personal at the time.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So you know what? Honestly, Mike,
true.
I think she's going to understand. And why? Because it was true.
Right.
Because it was true. But that we still, and I agree, but we still would have had to fight right then and there. We would have had to fight.
Yeah.
And there's just there's no way. If there was any Bears fan on that field, they would have had to fight or they would have been kicked out. So, like, of the fucking club, which might benefit them. I don't know at this point. But, yeah, I don't know. I think she'll get it. I think she'll understand. I think she's a true sports fan, and she'll be like, no, babe, you've been great, but I get it. I wouldn't ask you to do that. That's genuinely what I think her attitude will be.
Again, this is still a huge hypothetical, Bobby, and DK, but what happens if he does go there and he delivers them their seventh Lombardi Trophy?
DK would have a meltdown.
This feels like a Brady. This feels like I don't think that he's a quarter of the guy that Tom Brady was on the field.
No,
but this does feel like a Brady to Tampa Bay situation.
No,
if it happens.
Yeah, that's what they said about the fucking Jets.
Tom
That's
Brady
what he thought in his
Tom
mind
Brady
when he
has
was going to the
tainted
Jets. It's not
anyone over 40 playing.
Well,
Tomlin's
an
and it's because he's Tom Brady. You know what I mean? Everyone's just expecting Aaron Rodgers to have some kind of success after 40 because Tom Brady did, and he was kind of on the same level. But it's just not. It's not the same. It's not the same. It's not going to happen.
Kind of on the same level, but it was already embarrassing.
It was
how much he was brought up in the same breath as Tom Brady when they were both playing in their relative primes. It was already dumb and wrong. It was already completely fucking wrong. So now we're doing it again. We're giving him another. He's not as good. We already know that. Like it's just not. And honestly, he's like, I don't know, off the top of my head, 14 spots down. I think that would be my wager. I think I could name 13 quarterbacks in between Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. So why are we even having this fucking conversation? There's no Tom Brady to Tampa vibes to it. There just isn't. He's not Tom Brady.
Well,
he's not.
I would just say that but the vibe, the comparison here is that they are a quarterback away, especially with what they just did in the offseason with DK. That calf, we went to the team.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers were not a quarterback away. They were in the same position as every other team in the league. No, they weren't. You can't prove that because they were in the same exact position as every other team in the league. They were a fucking Tom Brady away. Every team in the league was a Tom Brady away in that year. I promise you that's true. So sure, they were a quarterback away. Like everyone's a quarterback away. I'm just a mile away. Everyone was a fucking quarterback. Was a Tom Brady away that offseason. So wherever he went, it wouldn't have mattered. I promise you, we were there. I recognize greatness. I'm not. I know I sound like the old man that won't tell you LeBron's better than Jordan, but like, no. And also, Aaron Rodgers is not LeBron. So no.
And LeBron is not better than Jordan. So I just want to make sure
I'm not letting him into the conversation. Can we all? Yes, I agree. But we need to be the bulwark against letting him into this conversation. Like me and you are the people.
No,
that have always been in this drum.
out of all the unexpected turns that could happen in our podcasting career, in our friendship, it would be Aaron Rodgers goes to my wife's favorite team that you had become an apologist for over the last almost 5 years on this very podcast. And then I just wondered, what would he do? What would he fucking do?
I just would like to point out, and I know you know this already, but I would just like to say on the record, you say the word apologist like how people say slurs. Like, I just want you to know that. The venom that you put on the word apologist, you might as well just say cunt. Like, you might as well just call me a cunt. Like, at the end of the day, it's like,
would never do that.
You've been a real cunt about the Steelers for the past few years, man. So that really would blow up in your face. Let's be honest, that's what you were saying, and I agree. I wouldn't be offended by it at all. I honestly, you could say that instead of apologist next time, because that was like a wounding blow when you said that. You said apologist like it was the word Nazi. It's amazing. It was an absolute skill. Your mic skills, Mike, unbelievable. That was John Cena telling The Rock that he knows he's reading his lines off his hand right there.
Right.
Yeah, I really applaud it. But it would suck for me. Yes, that's the answer to the question. It would suck for me. Everything about this situation would suck for me. I can only hope that it just miraculously doesn't happen because he's such a dick that they meet him once and they go like, never mind. If I was like completely neutral in this situation, I would probably point out the obvious fact that he's not going to get Mike Tomlin fired. And he's basically like coach poison. So if he was going to go into any situation, he was probably going to a situation
instead of leaving the Steelers off,
poison
just put the Steelers on.
Makes
all the time on the power rankings. Just to stir the pot a little bit more.
Oh yeah. This could be the best thing ever for the show.
Honestly, it's a full blown heel turn. It's really great.
It is.
It's good for the content, but I will suffer for my art.
We all have.
I will.
To be fair.
It's one of the things I appreciate most about you. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I agree. You suffered for your guitar skills.
That's correct. Do you before we head over to the NBA, anything else you want to talk about regarding NFL free agency? Any other big? I mean, obviously, the Ravens got their number 3 wide receiver.
The Bills signing
Hopkins.
Bosa.
I think that could be interesting.
I thought that was pretty.
But other than that, I mean,
Bills signing Bosa. He's going to be in Drake May's face all season. Sorry about that.
All season.
If
he's going to have 10
healthy.
sacks against the Patriots. Doesn't matter. He could only play 2 games, DK. That will be against us, and he'll have 10 sacks. It's going to be great. All right. So, over the weekend, the Boston Celtics took on the Los Angeles Lakers. They came into the Garden. This was, I think, one of the most hyped up games in a very long time. It was the 7th most watched game in regular season NBA history. Celtics, I mean, they almost let it up. They had that little 2022 Celtics kind of thing creep in, but 111-101. I think this game, for me, made me hate LeBron James so much fucking more than I did before and that I thought I could. But this isn't about me. DK, Bobby, what do you guys think of the game? Did it live up to the hype? How are you feeling about the way this is playing right now? Somebody, please.
I mean, sorry. I thought Bobby had like a wry smile on his face, so I thought he was going to crack a witticism, but he was just looking at us with his usual love.
Affection, yep.
And affection, but I think I guess I would answer your question with a question. How annoyed have you been with them, like over the course of the season? Because we haven't really sort of moved on to the full Celtics conversation in the show's like schedule yet as a collective group. So like, how annoyed are you with coming in with them? Because when you talk about shades of 2022, there's shades of a few different iterations of this team that is
that's
like
literally where I was
witticism now.
Say
are we doing a witticism?
It's unbelievable how they have made the entire almost seems like full heel turn back to that same team. Because they do that same shit all over again, and it's like the same thing from 2022, where they seem like I was listening to Bill Simmons earlier, and he said that the Celtics are like a 15-year-old child with ADHD. Because you just can't keep them focused. You just can't do it. When they have a lead late in games, they just cannot do it. And it's the same things that have been creeping up.
They're like, here's what they are. I agree with him about the 15-year-old kid with ADHD. I would give it one metaphor further. I think they're a single woman in her 50s living alone that legitimately gets ghosts in her house, gets them exercised, but then casts horrible spells to get them back because she misses the attention. That's a more apt comparison, I think, because I'm like, we dealt with all these things. Like, we literally won an NBA championship by dealing with all these things, by doing all the things in the opposite way that we're now doing them again. And it does really frustrate you that it seems like a choice with them for some reason. Is that my own bias showing? Maybe. But it genuinely does seem like a fucking choice that they make where they're like, no, this is going to work this time. Don't worry. It's like they just keep going back to the well on this thing that doesn't fucking work. And like, listen, they won the game that you started off the conversation with. So, and it's like, but why was the overriding feeling, and tell me if you guys felt this too, why was the overriding feeling I left this game with feel upset with them? Because they made me think what I thought was going to happen with these sort of surging Lakers post roster moves, quite frankly, if we're being honest. Old rival Luka Doncic, a guy we just saw in the finals, coming back to sort of haunt us on our worst possible rival you could ever go to, making them good. A ton of role players really playing above their contracts and position. We had to be the stop in that game. That's the context on the Lakers side. Also, do I like when the Lakers are good? On some level, I do. But I wasn't like emotionally prepared for it, right? Like I wasn't emotionally prepared for like this happening again. I had sort of written them off, and I think you guys might have been in a similar situation also. So I'm like, okay, I will put my pants back on, but I need the Celtics to put their fucking pants back on too. Because I just had a conversation with Cedric fucking Maxwell on this show where I was like, it'd be nice if they just put it in the fucking hoop sometimes, right? And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, thank you for validating a thing that we've been smashing on this show since its iteration, where it's like, could we just be a little no-nonsense Cedric Maxwell, NBA great Celtics legend? Yeah, Dave. Yeah, you guys were right this whole time. Like, please just, like, finish at the rim. Go to the rim. You're the most athletic guy on the court. Don't make dumb mistakes down the stretch. Protect the ball.
Shot selection.
Be smart with the ball. Jaylen Brown doesn't need to dribble to his left into traffic. Why are we doing this again? Shot selection is the same every time. It's like when you get addicted, you just press and circle in NBA 2K1. You know, you're just like, well, I have Jason Kidd, so there's a chance it fucking goes in. And it just goes dry after a little bit, you know? So I don't know. It's this inability to turn the boat around that I think is the through line, right? Where it's just like, can we adjust? Because you guys always seem to be able to make adjustments in the wrong direction. And when you see the iceberg, it might be a good idea to steer away
what I
from
think
it.
the difference
You know?
is, though, is that Tatum and Brown are now at the level to where they can actually carry the team at times just playing iso ball. And I think that's where it gets to a point where they can do it now, right? Especially Tatum.
It's where it makes it
Tatum
worse.
has just reached another level with his game. His game is on another level.
Especially Tatum.
So
I know.
I feel like
Especially
that's
Tatum.
where it is
I know.
now. Is that like Joe might turn it over to them at times, but I don't know.
The one kind of nice thing is that his shots are like prettier, and there's a more of an array of them. At like kind of like what closer, like obviously he's a 10 times better player than he was in his rookie year, but the thing he was doing his rookie year was like the thing that kind of stood out to all of us was it was like, oh, he has the shot from like everywhere. Like he can just stretch over here and do this and stretch over here. And then there was a lot of decision making issues. There was a lot of like kind of growing pains here and there, which is I think natural to think about. But you're right that he can like. I mean, I just think his efficiency, his takeover level has risen, which is was kind of the last piece of the puzzle. Like he's got his boost meter all the way up, you know, like NBA Jam style, 2 video game references in 5 minutes. But NBA Jam style, it's like, okay, he can press the 2 buttons and like go on fire now at a way more aggressive rate. So you don't blame him as much in it. I do think it cools the
cools.
frustration, or do you think it pisses you off more?
Of course it pisses you off more.
Pisses me off more. No. Well, yeah.
Because you're like, oh, but you just did it.
Yeah. Well, the problem that I had with this entire the game, but obviously they won.
How spoiled
and
are
that
we?
is something.
How spoiled
that
are we? We're sitting
they
here
did
bitching
not
about
do
it
in
in that one
2022 and 21. Like that was we were. I mean, they had a 20-point fourth quarter lead, and they got it down to what was it? Did they lose the lead in that game? Was it down to 2? I can't remember. I was so pissed. But I mean, again, they stopped the bleeding. They won by 10. But the thing I was most happy with is that this wasn't a night where the bench performed very well. Like Pritchard didn't have a great game points wise, but to stop the bleeding, it was Jaylen Brown that actually said what you said, DK. He just went to the rim. Like he just went to the fucking rim and see what happens. Now he missed three layups in the fourth quarter, and I wanted to kill myself. But aside from that, it was a great showing by him. We can't hear you, DK.
It was a great showing by Jalen.
Yeah.
He seems
Sorry,
he seems
I pressed the wrong
he
button.
seems to step his game up whenever he plays Luka. is my opinion. Whenever he plays Luka, he seems to go up at another level. Yeah.
I love that.
Great. Luka plays for the Lakers.
What a turn that
I'm
is.
happy about that.
What a turn that is that Luka now plays for the Lakers. It's
Yeah,
just
100%.
so I can't understate that enough that we have to play
hold on.
Luka Doncic against the Lakers.
We were right that he was going to look skinnier in the jersey too. We were right that he was legit going to just look skinnier immediately in the jersey and just be like, right. Like I think all of us said that. We were like, he's just going to get in shape down there. Like LeBron's been spending $1 million on his like left butt cheek for the last 12 years. That's why he can play like they just unfroze him from caveman times. Like he's going to teach Luka Doncic how to not be a fat slob, I imagine. And the two of them together it's pretty dynamic. Like, unfortunately, even LeBron at this age, he has across his career proven that he really only needs one other guy. If we're really being honest, he really only needs one other dude. And if you all the times that he's won, it's when you just gave him one other guy that could just do the exact right thing. I think he has that with the kind of floor of the role players on the rest of the team, and I think Austin Reeves. So I think that we have our work cut out for us. Like we could see them if there's a path for both of us to the finals. I think that they have a huge Oklahoma City sized mountain to climb, which makes me feel really good. So when we get to playoff time, I'm going to be like, all right. So that's going to be my sort of bugbear. I'm going to be like, well, they still have to play fucking Shea, who's having an MVP season and like is going to probably across a playoff series at the very least cancel out Luka, if not outright win. So then it's can that age LeBron beat the rest of that team? I don't think so. So, we'll see. But we have a similar problem over here, I think. It might not be as scary of a mountain to climb, but to be honest, the Lakers' path to the playoffs looks a lot different than I thought it was going to look on March 12th. But so does the Celtics' path to the playoffs in a different way. So I don't know, it's sort of concerning either way. I think the likelihood of that matchup happening is pretty low on one side or the other, but I don't know if I'd love it if it happened. I think it'd be a little emotionally distressing.
Well, of course it would be emotionally distressing, but all the great series are. Like you need the NBA is at its best when it's Boston versus LA. Always has been.
Yeah, it is.
We better.
Do we have Kristaps in this scenario?
Yeah, then we definitely take it.
Yes.
Okay, then I wouldn't be that worried about it. I wouldn't be that worried about it in that situation. Yeah.
Quick question: am I overreacting by how pissed off I was at LeBron in that game? Like, were his flops more egregious than usual, or is that just because I was just watching him for the first time?
Honestly, tough for me to comment because I have been the most consistent LeBron James fucking hater since the jump. So it doesn't really. That for you, remember the Street Fighter live action movie? Like for you, that was the day that LeBron James made you so mad that you decided that you have changed your opinion about who he is. But for General Bison, that was Tuesday. You know what I mean? Like I've always fucking hated that guy. So that came as no surprise to me. to be quite frank with you. I give him a few points back because he likes Liverpool. But other than that, like I since him and Pierce and the 1v1s in the playoffs, like I've been like, fuck it. Like we're arch rivals. Like that's where we are. That's where I stand with you. Since he took Ray Allen and his team was the team that was like the most iconic shot of probably the 2010s. That really annoys me like a lot still to this day. So, I'll say this about LeBron, and I've said this before. All his biggest highlights of his career, the camera is on a different guy. So that's how I feel about LeBron James. And yeah, I fuck him. I knew this was going to be the shit that he incorporated in his game to sort of make up for
the two shots. Kyrie and Ray
we all did.
Those are the two.
Do you think of it? Is it
right? The Kyrie 3 and the round 3.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Those are the two biggest moments of his career.
Do you really feel like his athleticism is waning though? Because I hate.
Okay, wait. Sorry. Can I
However,
actually? I'm gonna make a slight change. The block. I'll say the block is 1. So 2 out of 3. And honestly, that is me liking LeBron James the most. That is I peaked when he went and beat the Warriors. But it's similar to when you have to watch the Philadelphia Eagles like going to throne the real bad guy. You're kind of happy about it, but you're like, ugh. It would have to be him, you know? Sorry, I interrupted you, Mike. But yes, I had to qualify that because I knew people would be like, what about the block? And I was like, yeah, sorry, I only forgot for a second.
How worried are you about the fact that Kristaps is out and he has some unidentified viral illness? Like they don't have any timetable on his return.
I think when you're going to Eastern Europe and probably like, banging some questionable tail, yeah, you're probably going to come back with something. I think that's all right. I think he comes from good stock. I think he'll shake it off with a nice corn diet and a good round of antibiotics.
I'm only
that's what I
think.
think. He just needs to take his vitamins.
I think everyone else we can get through without Kristaps because we did it last year for the most part. Because remember, we didn't have him for most of that run last year.
Yeah, we won a championship.
I think we can get, but I think getting past Cleveland this year specifically, if Mobley and Allen are healthy, is going to be really, really hard without Kristaps.
And this is their.
Well, I think Cleveland are an issue either way. You know what I mean? I think they're our biggest issue regardless. So, it's just that's the issue.
We just gotta hope that a surprise happens in the first round, or if you want to go through them, go through them. Like Ray is very dismissive of Cleveland, always has been the entire year. I think it's hard to be dismissive of a team that's lost 10 games and played 65. So like that's it's pretty fucking tough.
I mean, it's hard to be dismissive of the only, in my opinion, I don't mean to sound like overconfident considering we have lost like more games than any of us wanted us to lose this season in ways that were very annoying. The Celtics still have like a roster that it's obviously diminished. I think I've come to the conclusion that Drew Holiday has gone down a level permanently. And I think that losing that level of dynamism in our backcourt defense this year, I don't know if they're going to be able to sort of reignite that in the playoffs. I mean, there's an outside chance of that, but I'm sort of coming to accept the fact that maybe not. And I think that was a big part of us winning. So to me, I'm like, it is kind of make or break on Kristaps more than it was last year. Like if he's not with us, that's an issue. That's a bigger issue than it was last year, I think, competition wise. But in saying that, I'm talking about the finals when I say that because yeah, Cleveland, you can be dismissive of Cleveland, but they're the only other legitimate contender in the East. Like, let's be honest. Like, I'm not worried about playing Milwaukee anymore. I'm not worried about playing the 76ers anymore. I'm not worried about playing the Heat anymore. Like, these are the teams that have historically, like, been genuinely challenging both in contextual rivalry and the level of their players. And if you can dismiss the Cavaliers, but they're really the only team to take seriously. So what's the alternative? You might as well take them seriously because they've won more games than we have. They're probably going to be number one in the East. And I don't know what kind of a hill you're standing on that, but we should be number one in the fucking East with the roster that we have. We should be playing better. So they're still going to pip us to the top. So, we need to worry about them. You can't go in overconfident against a team that won more fucking regular season games than you. Like, what are you, crazy?
Game 7 being in Cleveland would be tough.
I get why, but you know what I'm saying.
I mean, but the Celtics
that
are
sucks.
Like, what, 24? Are they 24-7 on the road? Like they're better. We're a better road team And in the playoffs,
I honestly don't think it would come to that. I really still don't think it would come to that. I'm not pushing it that far. I really don't think that we see a Game 7 against Cleveland. I would be pretty surprised.
Well, let's just say that for the purpose of this exercise, DK, that it does happen. One thing that this team has proved to us, even when they pissed us off, is like this is a team that went into Golden State and won a game in the finals when no one did that.
Yeah.
So they can win.
Yeah. They're a great road team. Yeah, I agree.
One last question before I kind of want to wrap this up. Well, I don't want to wrap it up. I'm going to. Are people overlooking the Warriors? Because they've gone on a fucking tear since they got Jimmy. They were 10th in the West, and now they're in 6th.
I think it'd be tough for them to make.
I would literally be the happiest about seeing them.
Easy for us.
About when you're looking at the realistic options of who we would see in the finals. Yeah,
I just never want to
realistically
see Jimmy Butler in the
who
playoffs.
might you see? Why? He might pull up from 3 when he could just take an easy 2 and send us to the next round. You know? Like, unfortunately, Jimmy can't be the guy. Like we've seen that already. I mean, I get that Steph can Steph at this age, like, is his game slightly different? I think it is a little bit, to be honest. I don't think we see the Steph that I also think, have you not liked Celtic chip on their shoulder Celtics the most this year? Like those moments have been the best moments of the season so far with the Celtics. And the Stephen Curry Warriors, we didn't think we'd get another crack at them. Like, you could completely frame that. And I think that's how their brains work on this team, to be honest with you. You could frame that as like, yo, they're saying they might get you, even though you're way fucking better than them this time. Like, this is your chance of revenge. You better go get it. I really do think that would be the most motivated Boston Celtics we would see in the finals if we saw them. So bring them on. 100%. I'd rather see them than Luka and LeBron. Definitely.
Well, I guess that's we'll have to wait and see what happens. But for DK Sizzle, Dave Clarke, the real DK Bob Kellitz, Michael Marcangelo saying thank you so much for listening to Missing the Point. Talk to you guys soon.
Hi, I'm Sherilyn Fenn from Twin Peaks. What did you do on your last Saturday night?
Did you hear something?
Toilet paper.
There's none. Nada. The reserves have gone dry. People are hoarding it. I should have done that.
They're all out of hand sanitizer at my Target.
Mark, when did you last watch the news?
We are getting reports of forced quarantines in China, Japan, and now Italy.
You're cutting onions in half and putting them around your apartment.
Yes, exactly. It kills the COVID.
Excuse me?
Let's go. Let's go. Get in.
Vamos, rápido.
Have you ever driven one of these?
Never.
I'll drive, ladies.
I've got the keys.
Excuse me, I'm lost. I'm looking for my wife. I got turned around.
Join me, Eric Roberts, Jennifer Elise Cox, and Ed Asner for The Last Saturday Night, an Electrocast podcast. You'll love it. Electrocast. Electrocast.